We are one day into the Affliction League start, so in today's video I wanna give you an update on how day 1 went for me. And as you probably can see from the video title, it went pretty well because I was able to farm around 30 divines so far. And you probably will ask, well, if you have 30 divines, where are they? There are no divines in your stash. Well, before I went to sleep, I did invest all of them into the Einhard memories. And they right now go for around 1.2 divines, so all of these memories are worth around 25 divines. And on top of that, I do have a lot of currency in here and some other stuff that I bought. I have free empowers in here and so on. So I do have right now around 30 divines. And what do I mean by day 1? Well, if you want to make a lot of currency, of course you have to play a lot. So far I was playing for 22 hours and 30 minutes and I did all of that in one go. And if you want to watch me playing PoE live, now I am streaming both on Twitch and YouTube. And if you want to see my Twitch channel, link is gonna be in the description. Okay, so now let's talk about what exactly I did to farm the 30 divines. So the main strategy I was doing is farming heist. And before you close the video, I know, not that many people actually like farming heist, and I was actually one of you. I hate heist. During the heist league, I only played for like 1 week before I quit. Normally I just farm heist for like an hour at the beginning of the league just to get my initial currency. But this league, we actually got quite a lot of changes to heist, and it is, in my opinion, more rewarding and also way more fun. And that's actually the main reason why I was able to stay awake for such a long time, because I just had so much fun doing it. So now let me walk you through what exactly I did and what are the changes this league to heist. So I did the league start as the Toxic Rain Raider, mostly because in heist you want to have as much of an uptime on phasing and onslaught, and the Raider just provides you perma phasing and perma onslaught. You are just always super fast, and also you phase through enemies, which is very nice in heist. I used to do heist on a Pathfinder and use Quartz Flask for phasing, but I can definitely say this just feels way better. And what I was doing at the beginning, I started just doing a regular heisting like everyone does at the beginning. I was just going to Wakano around level 60, just so that I can start doing a chaos recipe, and I was buying demolition contracts and the lockpicking, because demolition gives a lot of chaos recipe and currency, and lockpicking just gives currency. But the other contracts I was also doing are the perception, deception, and counter contracts, because I wanted to also get the Gianna reveals, because I knew I'm gonna be doing blueprints later on. And in case you don't know, when you do contracts with Gianna, you get 35 actually percent reduced blueprint reveal cost when you are revealing rooms in the blueprints. So this is very important for blueprints, because most of your cost is actually not gonna come from buying the blueprints. It's actually gonna come from revealing the rooms and so on. But yes, at first I was doing mostly demolition and lockpicking just to get some currency, but I also was doing the other ones for the reveals. And the main thing I had to focus on is to not kill as many monsters as possible, because I was buying a lot of contracts and I would be leveling up too fast, and I would not be able to buy more contracts because I would run out of the chance orbs. So when I would level up, I would just go and buy more, and hopefully by that time I would run most of my contracts, so I can just buy more and more. And if at any point you are 4 levels higher than the contract, I believe, you stop getting the reveals for that contract. So at level 67, you no longer increase the item level of contract that you buy from Wakano. So at level 71, you stop doing the deception, perception, and counter contracts from the Wakano, but you can still do the lockpicking and demolition just for the currency. But at that point, if you want to get Gianna reveals, you have to buy contracts from the trade. So just to show you, here is the deception contract. I put it in here, Gianna, and it says that this contract is too low level. Okay, so when I was doing that, I think I reached level 76 when I no longer got enough XP to be able to reset the Wakano shop and be able to buy more contracts. And at that point, I farmed around 200 chaos. I had exactly this gear. I actually don't think I swapped any piece of gear from that point on. And I also had around 25 Gianna reveals. And at this point, I started doing blueprints. I also needed to level up some of my followers. So if you are planning to do blueprint, remember to from time to time still buy like one brute force and agility and so on, so you can level up your followers up to level 2, maybe even 3. And then later on, if you want to level them up to level 4 and 5, I actually would recommend buying higher level contracts from trade, because you get way more XP from them when you do higher level contracts. And they are not that much harder than the lower level ones. You only need to worry about defense. That's why I'm using Bark Skin, Determination, and Grace. I have a lot of defense. I have Spell Suppression Cap. You don't need that much damage. You still need to kill some monsters so they don't interrupt your guards. But you have to definitely focus on defense. So yes, at this point I had good enough gear to be able to handle higher level blueprints, because I only was doing blueprints with area level at least 80, because you get a lot of bases from blueprints, and I just wanted for them to be higher level, and also you just overall get more rewards. And I also was picking up some gear from time to time and using Orbs of Binding on them or Alchemy, and just keeping whatever I get. The most important thing I was focusing on is just job speed and chance to duplicate currency. Here, reduce raising area level from opening chest. And the most important thing I was focusing on is the job speed, because if they finish their job faster, you actually don't have to kill that many monsters. You can just finish the job fast and go through the door, ignore everything. And now let's talk about the changes to the blueprints that we got this league. So contracts are actually pretty much the same. The only thing that got changed are the blueprints. So now, as you can see here, blueprints no longer have type. So there is no gem, replica, currency, and enchanted item blueprints. There's just an item called blueprint, which is actually very nice. First of all, because when you are buying blueprints, now you can just go to trade, type highest blueprint here. Let's say you want to go for item level at least 80, you search, and there's a lot of them posted for just 4 or 5 chaos. They are pretty cheap, and a lot of people are selling a lot of them. Of course, you can still buy them in bulk on TFT, but you don't have to do that. There is a lot of blueprints just posted for very cheap, and normally things like gem and so on would go for 10 chaos or higher, sometimes even for 40 chaos. So definitely pretty cheap. And when I was running them, mostly because of that price, you don't actually have to reveal them that much. So what I would do is I would go here and I would use Gianna reveals to reveal bigger rooms. And as you can see, most of the time it's going to cost you between 2,000 and 2.5k markers. And when we look at the prices of markers, roll up, here are the markers, so at least 5k in stack. They go for around 1 chaos for 500 marks, which means that 2.5k markers is around 5 chaos, and you always get one wing already revealed when you buy blueprints, so you actually don't even have to reveal those. You can just buy as many blueprints as you want. It's gonna be pretty much the same price, and you don't have to run as many contracts to get Vijayana. But I still had quite a lot of them, and I would look at the rewards here. So for example, this one has 4 divination cards, which is pretty good. This one has 3 and 1. So it actually, for this one, doesn't matter which one I reveal. It has pretty much the same amount of chance to give me good rooms. I actually prefer currency a little bit more than the divination card, so I probably would reveal this room, and then I would use the Wakano to reveal some of the currency and divination card. And most of the time, you're gonna play around 1,000 markers, and that means you pay around 2 chaos. And when I was checking the rewards from these rooms, I would definitely get more than 2 chaos from each room. Even if I got unlucky, I think I would get around 3 chaos worth of stuff. So I think it is worth it. But remember, with each reveal, you're gonna increase the cost, so you don't want to reveal too much. And to be honest, you could literally just buy as many blueprints as you want and don't even reveal anything in here and focus on just getting to the end, because the end rewards actually has also been changed. Now I am at the end of the blueprint, and as you can see, because now there is only one type of blueprints, all of the rewards are mixed together, and I think this is much better. Of course, there are no more alternate quality gems because they don't exist, but you can still get the enchanted items, currency, and the replica items. And I think that's better because in the past, when you would run the, let's say, enchanted blueprints, you would most of the time go to the end and you would just see the enchanted items and nothing else. You would not even pick anything, and you would just go back to the beginning, and you would just hunt for the tailoring or tempering orbs, which you would find around 1 every 5 blueprints or something like that. So you wouldn't too often get anything that crazy, so you wouldn't get excited for the end rewards. And now, because there's so many different things, most of the time when I would like go to the end, let's say I am here, I would get excited. I would wonder what I am gonna get this time, because there is just so many possible things that now you can get in here. And normally I am a big fan of the target farming when it comes to strategies, but for this I actually prefer this being done this way, especially since there's so many good things you can find in here now. So most of the time you would actually find something like this. So most of them are just like useless replicas, so these are not really worth anything. And this enchanted item is also not that great, even though it actually has pretty good rolls. It has +1 spell damage, lightning spell gems, I mean, and lightning damage to spells, so it's pretty good. But it's not nothing too crazy. But there is 15 chaos here. So even if you don't find any good items, most of the time there is at least one stack of some kind of currency, and usually it's worth between 10 to 20 chaos. Still, sometimes you will find rooms where there's absolutely nothing, but I would say from what I did so far, around 20% of the time there's gonna be nothing. Around 50, maybe to 60% of the time, there's gonna be like one stack of currency and everything else is gonna be worthless. And 20% of the time, you're actually gonna find something interesting, like some of the bases that I was able to sell for like 1 to 2 divines, things like scepters and so on. And sometimes you will find tempering and tailoring orb. And also now, I actually don't think you could find that in the past, but now you actually can find full stacks of divine orbs or exalted orbs. So sometimes I would find 1 divine orb. I think I found 4 of them, and one time I found stack of 3 divine orbs, and one time I found 4 exalted orbs. I actually wonder what other things you can find. Maybe you can find mirror. Who actually knows? We don't know exactly what are other possible things. Maybe even the Hinekora log. I actually don't know. I actually found 1 sacred orb, which is pretty rare. So I guess we'll have to see what other things we can find here. And also a lot of heist bases has been buffed and they are now much better, but also way more rare, which means they are more expensive. So for example, the #1 chase items right now, I think, is the Simplex Amulet, which goes for around 15 divines right now. There's only 3 of them on the entire trade and they are already splitted. So if you find 1 of them, you can use split beast to split them, sell them for 15 divines, so that's 30 divines if you find this amulet. There are also other things, of course, like a replica Alberon, so boots, 5 divines, and so on. Of course, replica Barrel's 4. These are just very rare items that I did not find any of them. So sometimes you will find nothing. Most of the time you will find at least something worth 20 chaos. Occasionally you will find things that are worth around 1 divines, and there is still a chance that you will hit something big like a Simplex Amulet or the Flask Effect belt. Okay, so this is what I did to farm the first 30 divines. Still don't think Heist is this amazing strategy that I'm just gonna farm all the time, but just for the league start, to farm it for like a day or 2, I think it's pretty fun. With this new reward structure, you always get excited to see the rewards, and also it's much easier to buy the blueprints. But of course, there are still the issues of just waiting for the doors, and just running through the heist, not killing everything, just clicking on the chest. It still can be boring, but I think it is much, much better in this state. But now what I'm probably gonna do is I'm just gonna move on to the memories, which is my second step of this league start. And if you are wondering, am I by my build, which I'm probably gonna change now for the memories, I am gonna post it in my Discord. It's actually, the first draft is already there. I made in my Discord the builds channel, and you can find all of my builds that I'm gonna be making. I'm gonna be posting the POBs in here. I'm gonna link it in the description, and I still have to update this one, so you will probably see this version in there pretty soon. So that's gonna be it for this video. Thanks for watching and see you next time.